Welcome to EnglishX on ICRT, brought to you by MandarinX and Vine Education Company. EnglishX is where managers learn to discuss international business topics in English and to start thinking more like a boss.
欢迎收听 ICRT EnglishX， 每周四早上由中文课和葡萄藤国际语言训练中心特别企划，让您掌握全球商业趋势。
Hey Russ.
Hey.
Yeah, now that I actually have you, we're doing this, we're doing the show, recording, I might as well put you on the spot here.
Okay.
In the past year or so, you've been working on a very secretive project for the company.
Yes.
Now, you've given me the name.
Yeah.
I know it's called VINEdots.
VINEdots, yes.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
At least the name.
Yeah.
But actually, I do not know what it is exactly. So could you explain to me and to our audience listeners?
Yeah.
What is VINEdots?
VINEdots, okay.
Or
so,
what is it supposed to be?
Basically, VINEdots is an online interactive learning platform that I'm using for our classes. And that's pretty much all I tell you, but you still don't know how it will work or what it will do. The reason I'm very secretive of it is because actually I don't quite know the direction I'm taking it, right? Because there's so many problems with online learning. And there's so many problems. Like, we have online learning, so anyone can sign up.
Right. We already have like face-to-face classes, like one-on-one with an instructor, right? We have that already.
And we have online learning, so anybody can take classes from like their iPhone, iPad, computer, wherever, all over Taiwan, in US, Japan, all that stuff. Like, we have those online classes.
Okay. So what makes this different?
See, the thing is, we have online classes, but you know all the problems that we have with online classes. Sometimes it's technical limitations. Sometimes it's like the person on the other line. Sometimes there's that, how do you measure its effectiveness? Because it just feels like you're just chatting online.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And then like you can have like games and words and things pop up on the screen.
But it's not quite the same as a face-to-face class.
Face-to-face class is always better. So now the thing is, I want VineDots platform to be very, very interactive. But that has a lot of limitations, which is why I'm testing all these things out, and I just don't tell you about them.
Okay.
I kind of just test it.
So
on my own.
The launch of this thing, it's still TBD.
I'm gonna begin public beta starting this August or next month, actually. Public beta starting next month. And it's gonna be closed. Then I'll actually be able to demo it to you, because I haven't even demoed it to you.
Yeah.
So I've only had like a couple people that are testing it for me. So I'll demo it to you, and we'll do maybe some of our other students.
Okay.
But then, end of the year, probably thinking, end of the year, December. Hopefully we'll be able to launch it globally. And that's the thing about interactive learning. It won't be just Taiwan. It's going to be everyone involved.
So you are thinking markets outside of just here in Taiwan.
Basically, and this is for our Taiwanese audience right here that's listening to us. Basically, I want you guys to be able to interact and to talk to people and to learn from people all over the world, not just your instructors here and not just your coworkers here. So I want it to be very, very, and the key word is interactive.
Okay, great. So welcome everyone. My name's Ting.
And I'm Russ.
And we're here to get your day started right, thinking English and thinking business.
And today we're going to talk about interactive learning. Hot topic. Improve your English as we discuss real-world problems many English students have at work.
让我们看看这礼拜有哪些热门国际商务话题。
So what we're going to do today is we're going to discuss interactive learning and just all the troubles that I've run in doing this platform, in developing this new platform.
Yeah, you can share some of the challenges that's come along with trying to develop the platform itself.
Exactly.
But first of all, could you give us a quick definition or the meaning of what interactive learning means?
Now,
what is interactive learning?
Interactive learning is it's a new term, but it's basically all the aspects that we have of learning now translated into the computer world. So think of when you were in high school and this was a class.
So that's that's your traditional classroom learning.
Traditional classroom learning. Okay. But the problem is from traditional classroom learning, you moved into online learning. And online learning is just basically a camera and you talking back and forth and maybe like a digital book where some words and games and stuff pop up, right? But it wasn't interactive.
Right. Well, I mean, I remember in a previous company we worked at, the training manual they had us do.
It was just some videos.
Yeah, it was like, it was an e-learning, not interactive, but it was e-learning through videos and watching things like that and having questions and quizzes.
Exactly. So what interactive learning does is, well, now because of social networking and Facebook and all this stuff, so interactive learning actually starts involving social networking into not just the classroom, but the design of the course and the delivery of the course. Because just because a course is online doesn't mean the same thing that you do face to face, you're able to do it.
Right.
And adding a couple little word games or just adding like, digital fill in the blanks, that doesn't make it interactive. So we're actually incorporating a lot of elements that we have in social networking into the actual learning.
So it can be a lot more hands-on, even though you're not actually in the same room with someone.
It's very, very hands-on. It involves apps, it involves videos, it involves games, it involves multiple online courses. It involves a lot of interaction, even like interaction among students themselves. And the nice thing about it's interactive, it's like we kind of give, like in a classroom, the teacher has control, right? The teacher saying, do this, do this.
Well, yeah, in your traditional classroom, it's kind of, we call it rote learning, very based on memorization and just doing assignments. And a lot of the pressure is on the teacher to do all the talking and all the lecturing.
Exactly. But even if it's not the traditional learning, even if it's something like our classes that are very like, student centered and based on their work and based on, we base all our classes on what's the student's job and their work and what they're going to do and how they will use English. So even our approach is very student centered.
Right.
Interactive learning takes it to another level where even in our classroom, even though it is student-centered, we're still controlling all the practices and exercises and the performances and all that stuff. We're controlling that as teachers. In interactive learning, the student is controlling literally everything.
Okay.
So the student is involved in the actual course design.
Okay.
Right? The student is saying, hey.
So the direction is not dictated by the instructor per se, it's dictated by the user.
The user is saying, I want to study for 1 hour. I want to study for 5 minutes. I want to study for 15 minutes. I want to study every day, or I want to study 2 times a day. The student is basically in control of everything. So that is interactive learning.
Okay. Some people have used the term gamification or gamify. Is that part of interactive learning?
That's part of it. That's part of it. There's a lot of gamification. For those out there, gamification involves a reward, treating learning as a game where you get accomplishments. You
get achievements or score points or things like that, and there's like different tiers.
You do something and ding, 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 you get a point and you move on to the next one.
You're leveling up. Yeah.
Exactly. So it involves some of that.
Okay. So what are the forms of interactive learning like that? You're saying apps.
Yep, there's apps.
Videos, right?
Apps, videos. Basically anything that can make the class more enjoyable, fun, engaging. Text, videos, audio, reading.
Now we know a lot of e-learning things can still be. It's still one way in some ways because it's just the person behind the computer. So interactive learning, is it one way? Is it two way? Is it? Could it be more than two way?
It's everything. It's whatever the student wants it to be. So it can be one way in terms of I'm just watching a video. We would call this bandwidth. The keyword is bandwidth. Now, everyone, our audience out there might recognize bandwidth in terms of like my download speed. Right. Bigger bandwidth, better downloads. Right. But when we're talking about learning, bandwidth is actually the amount of information we are receiving. So when for example, like audio, right now people are listening to us, right? They're only listening to us.
Right.
I cannot, you in your car that's sitting there on the highway right now, I can't hear you. I can't respond to your questions, right? I can't even see your facial expression. So if I say something like blah, 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 I don't know what face you made, right? So maybe right there you're at home preparing breakfast for your kids. I don't know what you're doing, right? So this is very one way. You're listening to me speak. Two ways a conversation back and forth.
More of a dialogue,
but that's limited bandwidth because it's just our sound. I speak, you listen, like a telephone, right? Video conference is a higher bandwidth. Right? Now,
you're incorporating visuals.
We're incorporating visuals, yeah. But now when you are, and this is one of the reasons why our teaching methodology, why we like so much teaching one-on-one, is because here the bandwidth is so great. I have everything about you. I have a lot of bandwidth information coming from your body language, from your facial expressions, from where you're looking at. Like right now, you're just rolling up your sleeves. That's giving me information like, oh, maybe he's uncomfortable, so I can say something to you about that, right? So we have a lot of bandwidth here that we're taking, right? We're here under these lights, so maybe like you see me sweating, that gives you bandwidth, giving you extra information about this conversation. Okay. So interactive learning is a way to give the students in their learning process more bandwidth, basically giving them more.
Okay.
More than just watching a video.
And is doing so, do you believe that interactive learning can be better than face-to-face?
Yes, because one of the things about our platform, specifically the challenge that I'm working on, is how do I receive the data that the student's doing? So like if I see my student is studying daily, then I know how to plan their classes or what more to add to their content. And then if I see someone that's studying like once a week, twice a week, I can keep track of that. I can get all this and I can analyze and track the learner's behavior and thus make it more suited for them. A lot of people like to use the term big data. Well, I can use big data to kind of say, oh, this student prefers more.
So the teacher or trainer themselves can kind of analyze and see how the student's using it?
Well, the nice thing about it is there's no teacher or trainer. The software automatically analyzes and say, hey,
now, if I'm the user, will I be able to see that information as well?
No, you won't.
I wouldn't?
It's kind of, think like YouTube. Like you're watching a YouTube video.
Because if I'm a user, I'd be interested to know like how many hours I've put in.
Oh, you can see how many hours you've studying and all that stuff. But like
how many words I'm supposed to have learned.
Yeah, but you won't see the metrics behind it. That's all behind the scenes. And that's all like machine learning.
And then where does all that information go?
All that information just goes to let us know what type of content you like and what type of exercises you like, and we can keep developing and giving you more of those.
And then who decides that? It's the algorithm, or is the computer that's deciding what other things you might be interested in, or is it like an actual teacher who looks at the data and then can decide?
It's actually the computer deciding what exercises to give you.
Okay.
Think YouTube recommendations. You watch a video, the video ends and say, hey, you might like this video. So it's kind of like that.
Okay. So it sounds, it's convenient. It's more convenient.
Yes.
Right, in terms of time. We know that sometimes doing online learning, let's say face-to-face on a computer screen, discussing, like let's say a student's talking to a foreign teacher face-to-face.
Yes.
A lot of times in our experience that we've heard from people taking classes in other companies that do this, is that the classes themselves aren't as flexible, just because they're getting different teachers all the time. One teacher who's teaching this student now may not know what the last teacher did.
Yeah.
Or if they know, but then they're kind of following a very standardized. You have to standardize things a little more.
Exactly.
Right. But so is interactive learning standardized learning? Will it have an aspect of standardization, or can it be more flexible or customized the way we do it in our classes? Like, a lot of our classes are very customized. Actually, it's like 100% customized.
Yeah.
So, doing that standardized, I don't know where
what the difference is.
Right. Or interactive learning, where it can be different or the same than what's already out there.
Because the student, think of our classes. When a student comes in and wants classes from us, like we don't give them a book or say, follow this, follow that. The student we interview them. If anyone learns, the way our process works is, if anyone wants to take class from me, for example, before we take the class, I interview you one-on-one.
We assess and evaluate your needs, right?
And then based on that information that you give us in the class, we kind of create a lesson plan for you. And then the student has the right to say, okay, we're doing this. Oh, this is good. This is good. But then after a couple weeks, they can change it because something else.
There's a lot of room to adjust.
There's a lot
to pivot,
of
right?
Yeah, there's a lot of room for adjustment and changes.
But the reason that there is because that student usually tends to have just one teacher who knows their situation.
Exactly.
But in interactive learning, is there just one? It's just because you said it's all computers, right?
This in interactive learning, this is actually done. The information is actually given to the computer. I guess the computer analyzes and checks all that information. And then the student also, the user, has the right to say, okay, what I want to learn. So it's a lot more flexible, and it's a lot more customized because everything is towards their goal. Like they can open up the app and say, today I want to learn, today I want to improve my vocabulary, right? And the next day they can say, okay, and then based on their vocabulary exercises, we can say, okay, you need more work on vocabulary. But the student can say, no, I'm tired of vocabulary today. Tomorrow I want to do listening.
Right.
Or tomorrow I want to do traveling. Or tomorrow I want to do food.
So there's a lot more room for flexibility.
There's a lot more
customization.
Yes, exactly. And this really helps because then the student becomes more motivated because they're doing what they want to do. And at the same time, we're still able to measure progress behind the scenes because we know the way they're moving. Yeah, there's actual achievement involved in that.
Okay. And then as a user, if I was a user, how can I make my learning more interactive then? Aside from just using the platform, right?
Excellent question. Because right now we've been just talking about our platform, VINEdots, that's going to hopefully launch end of this year. But that's our platform. But our platform is very limited based on students, right? So this is an excellent question because our audience out there, you guys as students, actually, it's your duty to make your classes more fun and engaging. I love it when my students are bored in class. Because I always tell them, I was like, no matter how bored you think you are in class, I guarantee you I am more bored, right? As a teacher, I am more. If you find it boring, trust me, I find it a lot more boring because I'm the one that has to prepare this boring material for you.
Yeah.
Right? I'm the one that has to present this boring material to you. And I know you find it boring because I've been preparing it. And there's no way for me to make SAT vocabulary exciting. Right? It's SAT.
You can make it exciting.
I can
to a certain extent.
To a certain extent, but at the end of the day, is you know it or you don't know it, and here's the definition and put it in the sentence, right? So there's limits to what I can do. Yeah. So you as students out there, it's actually your responsibility to make your learning more interactive. You need to ask for feedback. Always ask for feedback. Your teachers are more than happy to give you feedback, and asking for feedback is a great way to involve more interactivity in the classroom. Great opportunity for that. Letting you choose what you want to do, what you want to study is a great way. When you come in and say, excuse me, teacher, can we do this today? Oh my God, we love that. Because then, okay.
No, I really like students who know what they want. They come into the lesson very motivated because they have a specific goal in mind and they need to get it done.
Exactly.
Right. It's a lot harder, not harder, but it's a little bit more challenging sometimes as an instructor or trainer when the students come in with no sense of anything.
Blank.
Yeah, they come and say, oh, what do you want to do? I don't know. Like that, right? Or
you're the teacher. You tell me what to do.
Right. And then everything falls on the teacher to make everything, and not every teacher will know exactly what.
Some teachers just follow a book, just follow a pattern, right?
Yeah.
So it really depends. And I'm not saying like we have the best teachers because every school out there has great teachers.
Right.
But the system may not be flexible enough for them. So
we've worked with companies where they told us specifically, follow our material. You got to get this chapter done by this class.
Yeah.
Right? And even though we know our students didn't want to do that and we wanted to like switch it up.
Yeah.
We weren't allowed to.
Yeah. So it's really up to the students to make that request. Is that no, actually, I want this. Another thing that they can do is they can make their learning social. One of the secret ways that I do this in my class is in the beginning, the first time I'm meeting with a student, I get to know their family names and their friends' names and bosses' names because later on, no matter what exercise I'm doing, I can always I want them to practice this one skill. but they don't want to practice the skill anymore because they're bored of. They like, oh yeah, I got it, and I know they don't got it. I know they don't get it, but I still want to practice it more. So I say the exact same question, like a simple simple exercise would be like, do you like hamburgers? And they answer, yes, I like hamburgers. Right. Easy. So he knows how to say, yes, I like hamburgers. So I make it more interactive by making the class more social by saying, does your mom like hamburgers? Does your dad like hamburgers? Does Kelly like hamburgers?
So just involving people that they know.
Right? Social. Yeah. Make it social. Involve their friends. Involve their things.
So will interactive learning in this type of platforms or technology, will it allow people to bring in their peers or their family members?
It will allow them to share that information with the public, with social networking, and get feedback.
So will it connect to things like Facebook, Instagram?
It could. But then one problem with that is people don't like to publicize that they're learning. There's a sense of embarrassment sometimes where it's like, oh, I'm taking English classes. They kind of just, oh, your English is good. It's not like they proudly say, oh yeah, I'm taking English classes 6 times a week.
Sometimes they like to hide it.
Yeah. Especially with more adult learners. But yeah, it involves making it more social. What I mean by making it more social is sometimes the exercises that is involved in interactive learning, those exercises themselves are social. So if it's something like one of the, like in our company, I don't want to give away our secrets, but one thing that we do is we do lots of challenges. And this new interactive VINEdots learning platform will have challenges for the students. And those challenges are social. Those challenges are something as simple like send a message to one of your foreigner friends telling them about why you like hamburgers.
Okay. Right? So it's social. It involves them looking into their network of people.
Yep. It involves using their peers. Right. Peer evaluation involves involving their peers in their lives and contributing to their own learning, which again keeps them more motivated and involved.
Now, so far we've mentioned interactive learning in terms of how it's going to be used or will be used, right, in the future, using technology, social media. But I also would say interactive learning can still be in the classroom. Like you can make a classroom learning very interactive as well.
Exactly.
Because a lot of language learning in Taiwan and things that we used to taught or that employers in the past have asked us to do is you got to teach. So the teacher's often in the center, making all the decisions. And I would say that speaking time, talk time, it's like 70-80% on the teacher, and the students have very little actual speaking time. They might interact like raising hands or answering a question here and there, but it's not, the frequency is not as much. So I would say interactive learning can also be in different environments besides just behind the computer.
But don't you feel that sometimes students expect like, hey, I'm going to sit here and teach
you're the teacher, you should know, you should teach me that word. Rather than you should rather than engage me in the conversation so I can learn the word, but tell me what it means.
Yeah.
And some students have that built in, but that's one of the things, at least for us, we want to break that habit because we know that's not as effective. And one part of that is changing the environment. We know it's in the classroom, but sometimes being interactive is just as simple as moving where you're learning to another venue or place. Okay, so that brings us to the next question. What activities can you do that are interactive?
Activities? Anything that involves their peers, their friends, their family, involves something outside of what's in their material. That can make it a lot more interactive, right?
For me, it's anything that's not passive learning. So they have to engage willingly and voluntarily, and they have to be more involved.
Exactly. One thing that I hate is, and I did this in one class. It was a 1-on-2 class, and I told them about this. I said they need to switch chairs because there's this sense that like when you come in and you sit down, like you're glued to that seat. That's your seat.
Yeah, that's very common.
Yeah, and they don't want to move.
Yeah,
right?
we teach a lot of one thing is we teach a lot of corporate classes.
Yeah, and we go to their meeting rooms.
Yeah, and we're often in their meeting rooms, and the students tend to sit in the same locations, the same exact chairs they sit week to week.
Yeah.
So something as simple as asking them to move or switch. I actually got this advice by one of our learning managers back in the day. He said, "Well, to change it up, how about come in one day with like name tags?
Yeah.
Or like a name card or something,
yeah.
and then you just place it in random places, so it's not their regular. And then they come in, they're like, "What's going on?" Right?
But sit in a different chair.
Yeah, and I was surprised. I tried that, and I was surprised by just something that simple.
The energy completely changed.
Yeah,
they feel
the whole
fresh.
vibe.
It's something new. Oh, we're doing something new and exciting.
Yeah, I'm sitting in a new place, and the class could be just the same class, but the vibe is very different just by changing. So that's what I mean by the environment.
Use the room around you. Use everything around you.
Change the room layout. So if the table's here, if it's possible, move the table to another place, or have the chairs, or have no table at all. So doing things like that, the layout can make a big difference.
Using that, using props, bringing in
props. We have our buzzers and all these.
We have lots of interesting
things
stuff,
that make noises and sounds.
Playing games.
Games
also work. I mean, you can't. Well, you have to make a game, but make sure the game still has an objective that you're trying to teach. It isn't just wasting class time.
Right.
Yeah. So we want to make sure we're doing that.
Yeah. Icebreakers sometimes if it's a new group, a new class, like people get to know each other.
Well, one thing I like to do is I like forcing them to ask questions because my quote is always like, if you don't ask, you'll never know. So every now and then when I feel the energy is kind of low in the middle of the term, in the middle of the classes, I like, okay, let's ask each other questions, and they have to interview each other, learn some new things that maybe they hadn't said in class.
Yeah, one of the things we say in our training that we tell our teachers is, I like to say, get their butts out of their seat. Just have them move around. They're so used to sitting there, even if they're sitting in a different chair.
Yeah.
But having them rotate, move around, go across, back to back, whatever it means, just get their butts out of the chair. And doing this it can make a big difference. Something so subtle and small can make a big difference. Taking polls. I like taking polls. Like, you ask a question to the group.
They never give me answers when I take a poll.
It's how you structure that question.
Then maybe
so
the way
I like to do polls is I have them stand up, and then the poll has only two parts, like two sides, and I have them all stand in the middle of the classroom, for example.
Yeah.
And they're all there in the beginning.
Okay, move. Yeah.
And then I say, okay, and here's a question. It's either this or this. It's kind of a choice question.
Yeah.
And then on the count of three, then they move
left or right.
Yeah, based on that. And then based on that, we can start a discussion of like why you feel this way or why you jumped on that side. And it's better than just a simple just asking a question. Oh, what's your opinion?
Yeah.
Or just a show of hands type of poll.
Yeah. For example, let me do one right now with our audience. Okay. Right now, I'm gonna do a little poll with the audience that's listening right now. Okay. So if you are male, close your right eye. If you're female, close your left eye. So that's an example of a poll that involves some sort of movement. It isn't just raise your hand, me, like, who likes candy? I do, I don't.
But raising the hand, I mean, that still works. But if you use it a lot,
don't raise their hand.
or it gives people the option, because raising hand is a very minimum amount of activity.
Yeah.
So what you do is you push people to do a little bit more physical activity, which is get them to stand up.
Yeah. So in Ting's case, what he said is like everyone would stand in a line, and some people will move to the right, some people will move to the left.
But they all start in the middle.
Yeah, everyone's standing in the middle. And then you'll say, like, if you like ice cream, go to the right. If you prefer hamburgers, go to the left. So now they're forced and they have to move and make
or you can make it a multiple choice where you have A, B, C, D, and then you have
different parts of the room.
And they go to that part of the room with people who share the same answer with them. Just like simple polls like that can kind of break the ice and also changes, like I said, the vibe of a classroom. And that's one of the things about online learning that I don't love sometimes. It's you can never quite develop a good vibe in the classroom. Like one-on-one is fine for a short period of time, but there's a time limit of which both sides, not just the teacher, not just the student, but the teacher as well, the trainer as well. There's a lull, or it gets a point where like the wall where both sides are getting fatigued.
Exactly.
There's computer fatigue. Right? But in face-to-face, there's an energy there.
Exactly.
That hopefully that's what I would like. Eventually, is the platform to kind of be able to like build up an energy the way it does in the face-to-face class. I know that's like asking a lot.
Yeah. It's definitely one of the challenges that we're trying to solve.
Right.
Now, I love one of the things that Ting is explaining right now is the way he structures his classes is he's never a teacher in his classes. He's always a facilitator in his classes.
Right.
So, Ting, can you explain to our audience, what does it mean to be a facilitator, not a teacher?
Yeah, so the main difference is you're not there to teach in the sense of I'm not there to explain things. A lot of times for language learning, we're thinking we need a teacher. We need someone to explain things. But I'm not really there to explain things. I'm there to kind of coordinate. Like I'm like the not necessarily the hub, but I'm just like like a air traffic controller, right? All the airplanes are coming in from different countries, and I'm just kind of directing. But I'm saying very little. Like I'll set up facilitating is like you're setting up an activity or setting up some kind of action where you give them the instructions or directions. Yeah. But once you do that, you allow the students to kind of they just follow it and then they do it. And so then you're there to observe, listen, take notes, and then you can correct, revise afterwards.
You're like directing the learning, basically.
Just think of like an air traffic, or like you see the police on traffic where they're just blowing their whistle and going, okay, turn left, turn right. Like that's all you're really doing. And that way, there's not as much pressure on for me to sit there and memorize all these vocabulary words for me to explain to the students, because that's way too traditional or conventional learning. Like a facilitative method involves a lot more engagement. And the thing is, I didn't learn this from teaching language. Like I actually learned it from one of our students who was a business trainer, and they use this in a lot of corporate training.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because corporate training can also be very boring if it's done in a conventional way. But if you include a lot more facilitative methods in that approach, and add things besides just a PowerPoint. You have more videos, you have audios, you have things you can touch, smell, using the other senses. You
basically have to make the learning more interactive, which is exactly what we're talking about.
Right.
Mailbag. Do you have a question? Well, we have answers. Email us at EnglishX@VINEEC.com or on the web at VINEEC.com/EnglishX.
有任何问题，欢迎发送到 EnglishX@VINEEC.com 或者到葡萄藤网站 VINEEC.com/EnglishX.
Okay, everyone. Thank you for your questions. We have 3 questions here today. One is from Ann from Yong-He. She's asking, what is a realistic target for 10 hours of study?
Well, it depends on 10 hours of study of what, right?
Well, 10. So, like,
let's say there's.
Okay, I get it. Yeah. So maybe she's trying to ask, like, if she's what can she learn in 10 hours of studying English? Realistically, what can she learn?
Well, if we assume that she's already kind of like an intermediate level,
because
she wrote this question, right?
Yeah, intermediate level.
Yeah. 10 hours. I'm gonna guess in 10 hours you should be able to, like, if you don't do it all at once, I wouldn't advise doing all 10 hours at once. I'd spread it out, like maybe 2 hours a day for 5 days during the weekday. Per day. I think you can learn at least 10 vocabulary word expressions. So, in that case, how many do we have in a week? Or how many do we have in 10 hours?
But is that really like what you want to learn? You want to learn?
For language, I think for students, yes, because they need to have a certain foundation in a number of words or expressions that they can use. So that way, when they want to say something, they want to express themselves, they have that ammo. They have the bullets that they learned that they can add more variety into their speech. They're not always, students tend to get in their habits and they say the same vocabulary that they know. And they know they're saying it correctly, but it's limited because that's all they know. They don't know there's 5 other ways to say that sentence, right? So adding more vocabulary for me, I think, is an important skill. Now, this is a skill that once you reach a intermediate to advanced level, that's the main thing you really have to learn. A lot of our students who are at that level,
vocabulary, idioms, and
the grammar, all that, they know that. it's the idioms, the expressions, the kind of colloquialisms that we use in natural speech that language learners kind of want to learn to get to a more advanced level.
Exactly. Okay. So, and that's what you can learn.
So in 10 hours, we're thinking...
Give yourself a target of how many vocabulary words you can learn.
About 100.
About 100
If you do 10 to 20 a week...
Now, not in a day. This isn't 10 hours in one day.
Yeah, I'm saying so 10. So if you do 2 hours a day...
Yeah.
4 or 5 days a week. In 2 hours, that should be 10 words an hour. 20 words in 2 hours.
We should actually do...
100.
We should do an episode on memory. Because I have some great content on memory that can help Ann with this. So, Ann, keep your eyes or your ears open for an episode that we're going to do later on memory, and we can teach you some techniques on how to study and what you can study.
Oh, you mean to improve vocabulary?
Improve vocabulary and everything. Oh, great question. Thank you, Ann.
Next question comes from Eva from Sanchong. She asks, "What can I do outside the classroom to improve, or how do I self-study?"
Outside the classroom, there's so much you can do outside the classroom. The advice I give the most is to really create boundaries for your study. So make sure, one of the problems of today, we're talking about online learning. So one of the problems with like e-learning and online classes is because that environment is not an English environment. You are in your living room, taking English classes, or you're in your bedroom taking English classes, and your bedroom is not a place for English. Your bedroom is a place to play.
And I would even say it's limited in the terms of the size and space of that camera.
Bandwidth, as I was saying earlier, right? So what you need to do is you need to take learning outside beyond just those, that 1 hour that you study every week or 2 hours every week. Take it outside the classroom. So go outside, meet some friends. There's lots of chat groups in English. There's lots of language exchange. There's, making friends. There's even just like with your family, just saying, let's go to the night market. Like, for example, like Ting knows when we go to the gym, I speak Spanish because gym is Spanish time for me.
So when we do reps,
I'm always uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Yeah. So it's just create environments for you. Don't think that, I don't have an environment to study English. No, you need to create it.
Okay.
So that's what you can do. If you want to self-study more, you can read books. You can watch videos. Make sure you write the correct videos. So be careful because there's a lot of like culture and English videos online and on YouTube that you got to be realistic, Eva. Are they education videos or are they edutainment? Some of those learning videos, they're fun to watch, but you're not really learning anything. Right, so you got to choose the right material to do that. Send me an email and I'll send you some links and great places that you can study.
Well, it kind of relates to the next question we have. I think.
Pepe from Bancha, what did she ask?
She asked, what do you do when you get burnt out on learning? We all get burnt out, we get tired.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because like learning English can be tiring, like learning anything.
Yeah.
After a certain amount of time, you're just tired. You get burnt out. So what do you do when you get burnt out? Because a lot of people want to quit.
A lot of people want to quit or take a break.
Right.
One of the problems with taking a break is that there's the opportunity for you to lose all that you have worked so hard to get.
Right. You lose some of the progress that you made.
Yeah. So when you are burnt out on learning, what you can do is, yes, take a break, but don't take a break from complete learning. Take a break from what you're currently learning. So take a break, if you're doing like many of our students do business English, and we hit them every time business English. And after like
that was their goal. That's what they told us they wanted.
Exactly. Right? That's exactly what they wanted. That's what we're doing. But then after 6 weeks, they're like, can we do something else?
Can we talk about the sports now?
Yeah. Can we talk about culture? So maybe you're learning, cut the rate down. If you're studying, every other day, cut it down to maybe twice a week. And cut it and change your content. Say, okay, I'm going to spend the next 3 weeks learning a sport or learning about traveling, learning about food, learning about
that's the key word. I think you said it exactly. You hit the nail on the head. Changing the content.
Yeah.
Because if you're choosing content that you are highly, highly interested in, it doesn't feel like learning.
Yeah.
It's just like if you do a job that you love. It doesn't feel like work. It doesn't feel like this kind of routine work if you love to do the work, right? So it's the same idea.
Ting, ask me if I like teaching.
Do you like teaching?
No. Which is why one of the reasons why I spend so much time researching and stuff like interactive learning and working on the VINEdots platform. I don't love teaching. I love learning.
Right.
So one of the reasons why I love my classes so much is because I'm always learning something new from my students, and I prepare a lot for them so they can learn what they need to learn.
Right. But you don't like the teaching aspect of the classes.
Not really.
You like the learning from each other aspect.
Exactly. So when I get burnt out of something, then I change it to something else, change the content of it. But, it's not like I'm going to stop what I'm doing, right? Because I'm still progressing. I still need to go somewhere, right? Thank you, Pepe.
Get inspired. Here are some quotes to help you think more like a boss.
现在来讨论学习动机。
All right.
Down. Okay.
I got a quote from Senor Gates. That's Bill Gates. Senor is Mr. in Spanish.
Senor, right?
Senor Gates.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm Spanish in my head because you talked about the gym earlier. But Bill Gates said, technology is just a tool. In terms of getting the kids working together and motivating them, the teacher is most important. I definitely agree with what Bill Gates said, specifically that part, technology is just a tool. Like, I love it when I always think about my math teacher when I think about this quote, because my math teacher he was hilarious. He always used to say calculators are stupid because calculators do what you tell them to do, not what you want them to do, right? So that's very true when you're thinking about technology. Technology is a tool to get you. So many people complain about their computers. Oh, my computer is so stupid. Oh, I don't like this. Well, you keep pressing enter 30 times. That's not going to fix it. All the computer's thinking,
That doesn't work?
It doesn't work.
That's all I know how to do.
You just keep pushing the button, right? You keep entering it 30 times. You know what the computer's thinking? I need to repeat this action 30 times. So you're making your computer slower because the computer's just doing exactly what you're telling it to do, not what you want it to do, right? So there's definitely, it's just a tool. All the other parts of learning involves the facilitator or the teacher or something creating the environment for you, because many times we can't create it ourselves out of laziness, out of boredom. Sometimes we don't even know.
Or just limitations of where we are.
Exactly.
Limitation of resources. Yeah. And, this quote is coming from the big head of technology, right? Like someone who's famous for innovating technology, right? And pushing it out there. But he's saying it comes down to the people.
Yes.
The quality of teachers. And,
always the people.
Right. And it's the same in our industry as well. Like it always comes down to how good that teacher is.
Yes, as I was saying before, where every school, not just Vine, has good teachers. It's just maybe the environment's not correct in some of them, but I know there are a lot of great teachers out there
who care,
who do. I've met so many great teachers that are interested and motivated and want to do.
Their approach to things is kind of the right way, or it's in line with what we think.
Exactly. So teachers important.
Right. The quote I have is from David Thornburg. He says, any teacher that can be replaced with a computer deserves to be. So any teacher that can be replaced.
I wonder if David feels that same way about jobs. Like, can jobs be replaced? If they can be replaced by a computer,
they deserve to be. Well, it's this idea of was it Darwinism, right?
I guess so.
Survival of the fittest. No, really. If you're a teacher and you rely on having that PowerPoint, and if you don't have it, you can't teach it, then you're not a good teacher. I'll be honest. Like, we once had a situation. It's a new guy we brought in, and we gave him something to do, like he was teaching in a university, and we had a PowerPoint for him, and then he taught it the one time with the PowerPoint. And, so he got familiar with it. He knew how to, the structure of the lesson, but only with the PowerPoint. And then the following week he had to do it again, the same exact thing he's taught, but to another group. But this time the PowerPoint was not there, or I mean the iPad was out of power or something. Right, and then he
froze.
Got lost.
I don't know what to do.
And then he just kind of upped and quit and just said, I can't do this, and because he doesn't have that material with him. Right. So if you have any teacher who just relies on
their
the
material
book, to follow the book, to follow the material, they're not a good teacher. Right. You're gonna for the audience who's out there looking for a good teacher, a sign of a good teacher is their ability to what do we call that?
Lead and motivate, teach.
Be resourceful.
Resourceful.
Be resourceful. They can pivot. They can, like, I can teach the same class with a PowerPoint or with
without
none,
it.
with a handout or no handout.
Low level, medium level, high level. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And even on the spot.
Yeah.
Right. Without any complaint. And I can just work off what the feeling, the vibe of the room. Because, you know,
that's my
learning.
goal, Ting.
No, even in life, the things that we learn the most is from discussions and things like that with
Lessons and other people.
Yeah, not just saying learning language, I'm saying just learning in life. The things we learn the most is from our discussions and face-to-face and heart-to-hearts with people. So
as an engineer, all I'm thinking is, how can I automate that? How can I automate this learning process so I don't have to do so much work?
Yeah. So if any teacher who can't do their work without their computer,
yeah,
then you know that's a bad teacher.
That's why I always have my computer with me. And my next project will be a Russ bot. I'm going to replace myself. That's the next challenge for me.
Fast words. Let's discuss some new words and expressions so we can be more like a boss.
让我们回顾一下今天有哪些重点单字跟片语。
Find your feet. Find your feet. Oh, you had that example about a teacher before, and he couldn't do it without the PowerPoint or anything.
Right.
He just needs to find his feet. So when you find your feet is you just become more confident and successful in certain field or certain thing.
More comfortable, right?
More comfortable
More
with
confident.
it. Yeah, more confident. You know, just when you're trying something new, don't worry. It's okay because you're a beginner at it. But with more practice, more repetition, more experience, you'll get better at it. You'll eventually find your feet.
When you were first starting to teach, how long did it take for you to find your footing?
Find my footing when I started to teach. Oh my God. Honestly, years.
Right. It wasn't like 1-2 weeks you could become a great teacher, right?
No. It was probably, oh my God, maybe 4, 5, 6 years of doing it. You know, I was a bad teacher at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Same
here.
I mean, I was, I guess, I don't want to use the word charming to describe myself, but I can talk. You know, I can joke. I
relied a lot on your own charisma.
I relied on the
but
charisma.
Not on the actual skill.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I didn't, because I just didn't have that skill. And my linguistics teacher, if she's listening out there, hello, she knows firsthand that when I walked into my linguistics classroom, I was by far the lowest, the dumbest. You know, because I was in a class with like masters in linguistics, and I was just like, oh man, how can I deal with them? They've been studying linguistics for years, and I'm trying to like jumpstart this. Because I went to school. Yeah. I transferred, so I went there later. So, but you know, I can stand up there, I can speak, I can do it all. So it took years to find my footing.
I'll say 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, 4 or 5 years. But don't worry, you can still get there.
Next is to get something out of your system. Get something out of your system is to do something you've been wanting to do. Right? Like you feel like you have this urge or need to do something, and then you can finally do it because you want to get it out of your system. So you've been like, I've been always wanting to. Let's say you get like this kind of hunger for ice cream.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like it just won't leave you alone. So you just go buy ice cream, eat it, and you can get it out of your system.
Ting is very calm and gentle. Ladies, he's single. He thought about this word in a very positive way. I always think about this expression in a very negative way. When you need to get something out of your system is because you're just so angry, you need to just release it. So maybe I go to the gym, I punch and kick a couple of sandbags. You know, I take.
Oh, you're saying like to vent.
To vent out, to get it out of your system. So I think of get out of your system in the negative way, when I just want to and just release all that energy. Yeah, so get it out of your system.
And I said eat ice cream.
Gym ice cream.
Shows where our priorities are.
Ooh, gain ground. Gain ground means to become more popular or accepted. Gain ground, think of like your business. If you're like number 2 in the market, and
say you're 30% behind in terms of market share.
In terms of market share, you're 30% behind, and you improve 5 percentage points, so you're now 25%, you've gained ground. So you improve a little in your market share. Gain ground is always something that you're measuring. You have to be able to measure this to gain ground.
It's more of a gradual type of improvement when you say gain ground. So it's not a fast improvement we say gain ground. It's if you've made these very small, minor improvements to catch up to the next competitor, someone above you.
Or just think about you with the weights, right? Before when we started with the baby weights and doing
bench pressing, I could barely lift the bar.
Just the bar by itself. But now we're adding more weights to it, so you've gained ground.
That's true.
Improve.
Okay, next word I have is to get out of hand. Get out of hand. So when something gets out of hand, that thing means to be out of control.
Yeah, out of your control.
Out of your control, there's nothing you can do. So when something is out of my hand, it means I don't have control of it. I can't move it, touch it. So I am out of control. Or that thing is out of my control.
Yeah,
that thing is out of my control.
Yeah. So as I said, like sometimes I do random things in the office. Ting, what do you do when I get out of hand?
In the office?
In the office.
I don't think I do anything. I kind of let you go. Just to see what would happen.
I want to do this, and I start experimenting on something. Get the ball rolling. Get the ball rolling. As I said, VINEdots is our new interactive learning platform that I'm starting, and I have to get the ball rolling. Fortunately, I already have some clients, and they're the ones that I'm testing this service on. So I already got the ball rolling by getting some contracts for this new system that we're doing. So to get the ball rolling is to get started on the action. Right?
So some initiative, some plans,
taking some steps to get started, to get the ball rolling. So all of you out there that are looking to improve your English, you already got the ball rolling by listening to our programming, by downloading our podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, all that stuff. Watching us on YouTube, you already got the ball rolling. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, so continue doing that and also sharing it.
Please share.
And make sure to visit us at vinec.com/EnglishX. And to keep your questions coming, we appreciate any comments, any feedback, anything that can help us add more value to the show.
Yes. And especially if you have some ideas, make it interactive. If you have some ideas of something you would like to learn or a topic you would like us to discuss, please let us know.
Okay, yes, so thank you. We will see you next week.
Bye-bye.